Welcome. This is a good day. A good day in the neighborhood. My name is Dave Pomeroy. I'm a bass player and president of the Musicians Union here in Nashville. I'm honored to say a few words on this very happy occasion, which feels like a homecoming. When people ask me how Nashville became Music City, I point to a critical point in the 1950s when the major record labels RCA and Decca came to town and hired musicians to run their record labels. Those musicians were Chet Atkins and Owen Bradley. And they established and solidified the principle of mutual respect. They established and solidified the principle of mutual respect between employers and creators that we call the Nashville way. Chet was a great example of a musician who also understood the big picture. And RCA and the world benefited from his work producing records and running the label for many years. Thankfully, he never stopped playing and always encouraged those that he admired. He mentored countless musicians such as Steve Wariner, Pat Bergeson, and many more. And we all owe him a great debt of gratitude. Speaking of gratitude, without the years of dedication and hard work by Joe and Linda Chambers, the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum would not exist, and we would not be standing here today. I know without a doubt that Joe is up in heaven, proudly beaming from ear to ear with that big smile of his. On behalf of all Nashville musicians and music fans around the world, we thank Joe and Linda from the bottom of our hearts for all they have done and continue to do with the Musicians Hall of Fame to shine a light on the musicians behind the stars and celebrate the stars who also happen to be great musicians. I was very blessed to work with Chet on his TV special, Read My Licks, with Steve Wariner, Eric Johnson, Earl Klugh, and Johnny Gimbel, and recorded with he and Susie Boggess in the studio. Chet invited me to be part of his Saturday morning breakfast club at Cracker Barrel, which was really special. He came to see me one night playing a solo show at the Exit Inn in the mid-1990s, and the next day he called to ask me to send him a song I had co-written the day the bass players took over the world. One of the biggest thrills in my life was when he recorded it with Tommy Emmanuel as the day Fingerpickers took over the world, the title track of what would be his final record. I was there on that day in 2000 when they unveiled this beautiful statue by Russ Faxon at 5th and Union with a wonderful speech by Eddie Arnold. I remember that Chet, who was not scheduled to speak, grabbed the microphone and told a great story about his humble beginnings as a professional musician. That was his last public appearance. Now more than ever, Chet is still and always will be Mr. Guitar. More than 20 years later, this is the perfect place for this statue to live, welcoming all those who visit the Musicians Hall of Fame. Welcome home, Chet. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce Linda Chambers.
Very nice. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, especially our special guests, Chet's grandchildren, Mandy and Chad Sawyer, great-grandsons, Jamie, Will, Chester, and Nicholas, and several nieces and nephews that are here. 23 years ago, Chet Atkins was one of the first music statues unveiled in downtown Nashville on 5th and Union at the Bank of America building. That building was recently purchased, and the renovation plans did not include Chet. We are so grateful to have the opportunity to relocate Chet to the Musicians Hall of Fame. I reached out to the original sculptor, Russell Faxon, who graciously helped advise how to move the statue, and with the help of Bobby Jocelyn, Jocelyn & Son Signs, and Chambers Construction, the statue was safely moved. Russ also helped with restoring Chet back to his original beauty and prepared for the unveiling today. Thank you, Russ, for helping make Chet Atkins one of the most photographed statues in Nashville. Chet Atkins once said, "Years from now, after I'm gone, someone will listen to what I've done and know I was here. They may not know or care who I was, but they'll hear my guitar speaking for me. We are not only honored to be able to save and relocate Chet, but helping preserve history is our privilege. We are proud to bring Chet home to be with his fellow musicians here at the Musicians Hall of Fame. Chet was not only the fiber in helping create the Nashville sound, but he was a great friend and mentor to many, including my late husband and founder of the Musicians Hall of Fame, Joe Chambers. We had a guitar store on West End Avenue, and there was a restaurant right behind us called Rotier's that Chet loved to go to. Even back then, the parking was at a premium in Nashville. So Joe put up a sign at the guitar store for Chet Atkins parking. Chet got a kick out of that and would tell everyone that he had his own parking spot on West End. So it was only fitting that Jonathan Russell, Chet's grandson, donated Chet's car to the museum, which is on display for everyone to see with his personal parking sign. As well as being an incredible producer, musician, and record executive, he was also very funny and never took himself too seriously. He gave himself the title of CGP, Certified Guitar Picker. He then anointed 5 other incredible musicians that he respected with the CGP degree. John Knowles, who's here today. Hey, John. Yeah. Paul Yandell, also the Yandell family is here. Yeah. Other CGPs are Jerry Reed and Tommy Emmanuel. And to help unveil, please welcome renowned artist, Musicians Hall of Fame inductee, Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee, Grammy Award winner, incredible guitarist, and carrying on the CGP title, Mr. Steve Warner.
You cleaned up good. That's awesome. Ross, that's a fantastic job. I understand some graffiti artists kind of took a liking to Chet down there a little bit. Thank you for all that. And Marie Yandel is here. I want to say hello to Marie and Paul Yandel's wife, and Chet's right-hand guy for many, many years. And Mike and Cherie. I got a call a minute ago while I was driving in from Dwayne Eddy. I was driving, and he wanted me to read this if I could. Gosh, I'm sorry it's on my phone, but Dwayne Eddy says, "I'm terribly disappointed not to be here with all of you to welcome Chet's statue to the Musicians Hall of Fame Museum. Chet surely belongs here with his fellow musicians who loved and cherished him. I want to thank Linda Chambers and her wonderful family for making this happen. I only wish Joe could have seen this." Dwayne Eddy. Yeah. Isn't that correct? And also, I apologize. I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm not going to be kissing anybody on the cheek today. I just got back from London of 2 weeks there, and I saw Tommy Emmanuel was over there as well. We were hanging out together. And Tommy said to say this: "Chet was my hero. He was my role model, my teacher, my dear friend. There will never be another. We miss you, Chet." And we sure do. Tommy Emmanuel. I was honored to speak at Chet's walkway a few years back, and I found a really cool poem that I read it that day. But if you don't mind, it's very, very short. But I'd love to read this to you again today because it's my favorite. Johnny Cash wrote this poem. He wrote it in 1970. And I just love this. I've got a feeling, Ray might even know better than I do, but I got a feeling this might have been his intro when Chet was on the Johnny Cash TV show, possibly. But I love this. Johnny Cash said, "The hands of the baker and the candlestick maker are those of a skillful man. The thread of the tailor, the ropes of the sailor are tied by knowing hands. The watchmaker's eye and the light to see by, and hands that are calm and sure, make the tiniest springs do the tiniest things, and long has that skill endured. It matters not the job you got as long as you do it well. The things that are made by plans well laid, the test of time will tell. But how can you count or know the amount of the value of a man? By the melodies played and the beauty made by the touch of Chet Atkins' hand. I just want to say that I'm honored to be a part of it. Originally, I was out of town. I was out in California when this originally happened. I was heartbroken that I was out there doing a TV show. And Chet understood, of course. He's like, oh, you gotta make that money, do those shows. And but I hated it. And I told somebody yesterday, I don't care if I got the flu, a cold, I'll stay away. I'm being here on this one. I'm not missing it the second time. And I just love this statue, and Russ, you did an incredible job. Just honored to be here and be a part and represent Mr. Guitar. And I think he's right back home where he should be, right with all the greatest musicians in the world, right here with all of his pals. So anyway, thank you for your time. And there's nobody, I don't think there's anyone on the planet that knew Chet better than the gentleman I'm going to introduce. Chet called this gentleman a genius so many times. I've heard that word used, and he didn't throw that word around a lot. I shouldn't tell you that, but I agree with him on it. He can do everything. He's one of those multi-talented guys, and I'll shut up and introduce the great Ray Stevens.
Thank you, Steve. I am really honored to be here today, and I hope I don't cough during this. I'm trying to get over whatever. But I remember once a reporter was interviewing Chet in the studio in the control room at RCA, and the reporter asked him, he said, Chet, what is the Nashville sound? And Chet reached in his pocket and found some coins and jingled them. And which leads me to say, no wonder he spent years in front of a bank, But, sorry, I warned you. I just want to say that, he's doesn't belong in front of a bank. He belongs here. Yeah. Nashville Musicians Hall of Fame. And welcome home, Chet.
And David Conrad's here, one of Chet's oldest, I won't say oldest, longtime friend, David Conrad. So wait, give him a big hand, Mr. Conrad. I'm going to do one more. I don't want to bore you all with a lot of talent, so I'm going to do one more. And he would also, some of these little sayings so great. I love one he would do. Dave, you remember this? He would say, "Here's a song I wrote with Randy Goodard. It's so beautiful, this song. We're hoping it might become the national anthem of some small country someday." I've sat on this stool many times over on Union Street. It feels funny to actually really be playing. It's great. I wonder how many butts have sat on this seat.